Alright, so currently got a package, and so yeah, this phone is 3 cameras, huh? Well, we got, a costume, if you will, if you know that reference. Well, it's actually not a reference, it's just the way how somebody has costumes. Either way, really wanted to wear this shit, for so fucking long, or like, just be this character, because, I think this character is pretty fucking cool, and I loved the series ever since I was so young, and like watching, the character grow up, take the lesson that he learned to heart. I got me a cosplay outfit. Now, keep in mind, this was, like between you and me, this is like the first time that I'm like, doing cosplay. But I wanted to do cosplay for years, but I felt like I never could, like actually like live up to, like any sort of like expectations that other like well-known cosplayers in the world of like, dressing as anime characters. I felt like I could never, live up to, their expectations. Bruh. Look at this fucking hat. Oh, it's so squished in. Let me try putting this on real quick. Feels too small. Pokeball? Go! Pokeball? I wish I had like an actual ball, but I ain't got none. Yeah. Oh well, maybe I can adjust this hat. No, that actually makes it a little bit tighter. What the fuck? This is fucking dope, bitch. Now, I don't have like a black shirt currently. Yeah, I'm filming a video. Yeah. Y'all go ahead and handle your business. Alright. Love you, mama. Yeah, me and my mother, we put up with each other for, for all the years. We've put up with each other for so long that, I'm starting to wonder, because, I know I've been, like, I know in terms of, like, trying to maintain a good relationship with your mother, especially when, you feel like you're not getting, like, the loving care you feel like you could be getting out of, your parents. Or at least, like, in terms of, like, how you wish, your upbringing was. I don't mean to get personal, oh good God. But either way, it is what it is. Sometimes I wonder what life would be like if you. But either way, this is really the largest size that I could get. 3XL, because a lot of people said that this specific cosplay is, not that big, or at least for them. Like they recommended, upsizing, or like upgrading to like a larger size. And I checked, the proportions of the size. Yeah, and I think 3XL is pretty good. Yeah. So I did also manage to buy another hat, just in case, I know I probably don't look the part because, I'm literally 22 years old, and yet I feel so fucked up in my face department and, like, with all the scars and, everything else. But, this really, hides the scars on my fingers and left hand, Or at least it's the scars that I have to bear, Let me open this shit. But either way, I know my mom's trying to cuss it. Sometimes, the best we get out of our parents isn't good enough, but yeah, this hat feels squished in. If you look at it. That's why I got a different one. I know it's not Halloween, but figured I could, prepare in advance, however many months October is away from us. It's currently, and because today is currently, I think August, I'm sorry, April 27th or like 28th, I don't know. Looks a little bit better. Let me try. Just like this. Nope. Got a, thank goodness it's like a snapback, I think that's what it's called. Holy shit. I actually might look the part, Maybe I have to shave, but I need a ball. I remember, of course. I remember I bought a throw and catch, not like those Pokemon balls that, that some people might, get, with that, open up and have, I'm just so excited because I remember I got a Pokemon ball from, eBay, because I remember years ago I had, a set of, 3 Pokemon balls, a regular Premier and, a black and, orange one. But I lost them years ago, and I don't know where the fuck they are now in this messy ass fucked up apartment. But either way, I mean, look, the difference between church and state, or what came with it compared to what I have here. I knew I made the right call. I knew I made a good choice. And honestly, I really wish the Pokemon anime didn't end. Or at least if we did get, more Pokemon, maybe we can, I mean, I haven't really kept up with the series, but Indigo League was the tits. That was my shit. That was literally, I would watch every single fucking day. I could call this video cosplay for the first time. I know what I got. I don't have a Pikachu plush, but I got a Bulbasaur plush. And this... the fuck? Bitch, what the fuck? What the fuck is it brown? I probably was on my bed before back when I had that milk and chocolate and hot sauce stains on the fucking wall. Oh, pineapple. I got this here. This might not be officially licensed by the Pokemon Company or Nintendo or whatever the fuck, but I got, what the fuck is this thing? Larvitar. Yeah, Larvitar. This shit, I mean, sure, it was a little bit but compared to how big it is, from my hand perspective, from a perspective of, how big my hands are, this looks pretty, good for a potential knockoff. Got it from, didn't get it from GameStop, got it from, and literally has no tags anywhere. So I don't know if this is, fan-made or just, probably from some cheap factory, probably in China, Malaysia, Hong Kong, or Beijing, or maybe it is official. I don't know. We'll have to check on Google Images. This shit is dope, dude. I feel so cool, even though I know I probably look fucking stupid. Oh my god. Oh, but oh well. It's my first time, in a getup or a costume of cosplay, I really, I love growing up. I love watching, Pokemon Advance, the series, Pokemon. I caught some glimpses of Pokemon. What was it? Yeah, Orange Islands, and I've gotten, my favorite Pokemon game, I hate to say it, it's Pokemon Go. Imagine that shit. After all this time, the Pokemon game that I've only really played religiously was Pokemon Go. I feel like a fraud because of it. And sure, I might not, have the insider knowledge of the current series, Journeys or Sun and Moon, or but either way, this shit is dope. It really is. I really feel and these gloves, Damn. I'm in love with this outfit, dude. And honestly, maybe, you know, growing up, you know, when I was like super, super young back then, maybe, you know, just like how Emarichu and, you know, Jinja Ninja, or also known as Reagan, you know, talked about like when they were, you know, younger, like they had crushes on Ash Ketchum. Honestly, I feel that. Like, I feel that, you know, like Ash Ketchum, sure, he's like, he can be a blubbering idiot at times, especially with like shit like, you know, what was it? The like, he just doesn't get things. But like, especially in like the original Indigo League anime, like that I watched reruns of and just binge watched on Netflix like years ago. Like, I've seen like Ash Ketchum go from like being like disrespectful and just like roasting the shit out of Misty, and you know that one kid with the camera that was from Pokemon Snap. But yeah, he would also be like just an idiot, not piecing things together. Like the thing about the gym leaders, Serena and her father. And yeah, I mean, sure, you know, probably had to change some things for the dub and modernize some things that, you know, were in the original subtitle anime, in the original Japanese, you know, subtitled in Japanese original quality, like style of show, to make it more like watered down, especially for like the shit when he was like, when Brock was like, nothing beats a jelly-filled donut, and it's like, growing up I didn't realize what the fuck it was, but apparently it's a rice ball. Either way. But yeah, so sorry about messy ass room. You know, at least it's something, you know. At least it's a home, you know. Or what it is, you know. At least it's like my home currently. How are you guys doing, by the way? You know, how have you guys been? Me personally, still keep on struggling, but you know, we live, we learn, we survive. You know, really, I'm grateful that I have, you know, at least, like, I was grateful back then, you know, back in 2021, I believe, yeah, when I hit 1,000 subscribers, and then I think in 2020, it wasn't like 2022 when I hit 2,000 subscribers, I don't think, at least. I think it was like, you know, up until like, you know, maybe like 2 or 3 years afterwards, so like maybe 20... So either 2024 or 2025 was when I hit, you know, 2,000 and then 3,000. But still, the time difference from when I hit 1,000, it took me like ever since, because I think I started YouTube back in like November, was it? I don't know, like a few weeks after my birthday. Now that I'm remembering, like, but I also don't remember a lot. And I did delete a lot of very old videos that I hope are considered lost media, because, you know, those were during the cringe years, or the years where I was being myself, or just, you know, people would, you know, consider me cringe, you know, because a lot of people in, you know, my middle school classroom and, you know, in high school would make fun of me, you know, from my YouTube channel and what I posted on there. So yeah, just, you know, keep on skating by, you know, trying to at least, you know, help myself along the way and help other people, you know. I've definitely fucked up a lot more times than I can count, but I'm grateful I have an audience that probably cares about me. And if you don't, I mean, and if you're just here for the ride, you know, welcome. And also, I'm sorry if you can't hear me, you know, on behalf of, you know, the fan, because, you know, air conditioner's fucked up beyond repair. Literally. Because it broke. But yeah, anyways, yeah, so, and also, at least, another thing about Pokemon Go, at least, was that I finally, caught, you know, all, 151 Pokemon, either this year or last year. But I think it was this year. I finally managed to get a Kangaskhan. Would you believe that? Took me 9 years to finally complete the original 151 Pokédex. Felt like I was finally, like just like Ash Ketchum, a Pokemon master. It was so fun, Sure, there was a lot of money and, tears, blood, not, well, in terms of like blood, sweat, when people say, oh, I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and time into this. Well, I mean, I literally, I cried, literal tears when, or like, I probably shouldn't be saying this, never mind. But yeah, I love Pokemon Go, and I love Pokemon, like, so much from the anime, all those years back in my childhood, watching that, that TV show, or the anime, it was pretty good, brought back, brings me back to a lot of great memories, just wondering what the gang of Ash, Misty, and Brock would be up to. Man, those were a bunch of good memories. Simpler times, too. Simpler times. So yeah, sorry about the room. Hope you guys, don't judge me too harshly for my current living situation or the current content I put out, But I really like doing this video. It was pretty fun, So yeah, hopefully, one of these days, I could probably earn money from YouTube or, from being, creating content, more content, or go back to the good old days before everything went to shit. So, yeah. Thank you guys, for sticking around by me, this time. I mean, from like the very beginning to this, the whole time, this whole time, so many, fans, probably expect so many different things, but, I think I'm finally starting to get to a place where, happiness seems, it seems like something that I can actually achieve or obtain, I don't have to put in a lot of more work and, a lot more, effort to try to, settle certain disputes among, old friends, or finally, deal with my past, probably, say goodbye to my old enemies, well, say goodbye to my old, burdens, because, I want to move on with my life, That doesn't mean I'm quitting YouTube, though. Fuck no, I love this shit, I just want to be able to reach to a place where, like, I can learn to fully appreciate myself, even if that might never happen, So, yeah. Hopefully, things keep going good for now, and, especially even though with, with my adult content. Yeah. Sorry about mentioning that. Forget I said anything about, forget I said that specific thing, but yeah. Thank you guys for, 3,200 subscribers. And hopefully you guys will still keep on watching and stick around for, all of the future projects and future endeavors that could probably possibly come, And I hope, you guys actually really do like, watching me and, caring about what I have to say, in terms of like, my own platform, or me on different platforms, I'm thankful, I truly am. It feels like a privilege, it feels like, even though I have the right to have a YouTube channel, it feels like with everything that's going on, or everything from the past, affecting me so badly and hurting me so deeply, I feel like I'm starting to get to a place where I can, like, finally get over that, So yeah, I'm gonna make this video 20 minutes, gonna stop it at 20 minutes. Hopefully you guys like and subscribe. If you don't, that's okay. And if you are already subscribed, make sure you hit, the notification bell so you know whenever I upload and get notified because of that. And yeah, so just love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.